The fuck? I woke up this morning not expecting this news. This is definitely surprising. So this morning I woke up, I got a notification on my phone because I got like several email things related to like news articles and stuff for very specific topics, and Warhammer 40k was one of them, and I got a bling for that from the Hollywood Reporter. And this is what it is. Henry Cavill's next play, Warhammer 40,000 series for Amazon. Now, we're going to get into the article, but I was shocked to see this. And just before I sat down, and I want to give credit to him, but I didn't get the notification from Arch. But I did, as I was sitting down getting ready to record this, Arch has also uploaded a video on this, so I'm not the only one covering it. And he's probably going to beat me to the upload. But holy shit. Okay, this is huge news. But let's get through the article before anyone gets overly optimistic, shall we? The streaming giant is in process of closing the rights to the miniature war game. Now keep that in mind. That is something that is mentioned throughout this article, is that they're not looking for the rights for the film rights or the TV rights. They're looking for the overall rights to the game. And when they say streaming giant, what they really mean is Amazon. Amazon is looking to get the rights to the entirety, basically to own Warhammer 40k. Let's get into it. The actor, who Wednesday officially hung up his Man of Steel cape after Warner Brothers announced it is going in a new Superman direction, thanks to DC studio heads James Gunn and Peter Safran, fuck them both, is attached to star and executive produce a series adaptation of Warhammer 40,000, the popular science fiction fantasy miniature war game that is set up at Amazon. Okay. That is set up at Amazon. Okay, I don't know if that's a miswrite by the article's author or if something is already set up with Amazon, because that sounds like something is already there. So I don't know, that might be miswording. Amazon is in final talks for the rights to the game produced by Games Workshop after months of negotiations and fending off rival companies that also sought the rights. So that is major right there. Again, they're specifying rights to the game. Not to the film rights, not to the rights to do a TV adaptation, the rights to the ownership of the IP, by the sound of it. Or maybe not the IP, but specifically the game, and the IP will still remain with Games Workshop. I'm not sure what we're looking at here, but this is big on two fronts. Because on one end, this is either massively miswritten, and it's supposed to say looking for the rights to the TV adaptation and the film rights. If that's the case, then they're getting us a little more hyped, a little more like grandiose by miswording it to rights to the game. Because if what they say here is true, and Amazon is looking to own Warhammer 40k in its entirety, this is massively horrific news. But maybe not. That's the thing. It's hard to say. Because though Amazon is a greedy corporate fucking amalgamous mess of just bullshit, they are one of the worst companies, period. But so is Games Workshop. So, is this a good sign or a bad sign? I don't know. I'm genuinely conflicted. Okay, but after months of negotiations and fending off rival companies that also sought the rights, no writers or showrunners are attached, although Vertigo Entertainment is attached to also executive produce. Warhammer is akin to Dungeons & Dragons. Dice are involved in the play. Okay, do you know how many board games have dice involved? Yahtzee. Yahtzee is nothing but a dice game. Are you telling me Warhammer 40k and Yahtzee are alike because they have dice? Huh? Like, God, I hate it when non-nerds write shit like this. But also features intricate miniatures that players can place and move around a model-constructed battlefield or world. That's correct. That's more on point. You should have just thrown out the dice are involved in playing part. because that's not specific. Games Workshop in the 1980s made miniatures for D&D, and launched the game in 1987. Yes, correct. They launched their war games because they had such a excess of miniatures that they produced for Dungeons and Dragons that weren't being used for anything and weren't being bought for any other reason. So for a reason to sell those miniatures, and they have said numerous times that they're a miniature company that sells game models or sells game rules. But yeah, like that's like, for those who didn't know, that is like the origin of not only Warhammer 40k but Warhammer Fantasy. They just had these huge like excess of miniatures that they produced for Dungeons and Dragons, and they were like, well, we really want to sell these because we're a company that focuses on selling miniatures. How can we sell them? Oh, well, why don't we create a game around using as many of them as possible so we can sell as many of them as possible? So it's always been around the miniatures. That has always been one of their GW's core identities, is they're a miniature company that sells game rules, more or less. The game's setting, it has grown to become the most popular miniature war game in the world, I believe so, and spawned many imitators. The game's setting is 40,000 years into the future, where things are dark indeed. That's an understatement. Human civilization has stopped progressing and is in an unending war with aliens and magical beings, with gods and demons figuring into a theological class system. Yeah. The humans make up the Imperium of Man, who are militaristic. A race of skeleton-like androids are known as the Necron. There is an elvish race known as Eldari, as well as orcs. Tyranids are nasty aliens, and the Tau is a blue-skinned alien race that may offer some hope. Fuck you. I hate it. Nah, fuck you. No. Tau. Don't mention them. Or at least don't mention them like that. This is why they're the black sheep of the community. Because they shouldn't be the alien race that may offer some hope. There should be no race offering hope in this universe. And to be fair, if you know anything about the Tau lore in extensive detail, they really don't. That's what they preach, but it's all kind of hollow and it's not legit, so... No, don't do that. It's a hopeless universe. That's kind of the idea of my fucking camera. Will not focus here, thank you. That is the idea of a grimdark universe. There's no faction that is wholesale the good guy, and that if that people should not be walking away with that interpretation of the Tau. Anyway, Cavill's known to be a Warhammer fan and paints figures. Because the project is in such early stages, to reiterate, Amazon is yet to close the deal. This is not the next gig for Cavill, who recently announced he was exiting his lead role in Netflix's The Witcher. But it is an ambitious move for Amazon and could deliver a show that is epic in scale, as it combines the big genre elements of sci-fi and fantasy, as well as a host of human and non-human characters. Now, let's back up a little bit here. Cavill is known to be Warhammer fan, paints figures. Yes, he is. He's a Custodes player, which is why this is kind of an insulting image, but it's okay. It's okay. Again, it's pretty clear by Mr. Boris Kit here. This is not something they know too much about. They should have put Cavill and Custodes next to each other, but okay. They've made other errors in this article, so I'll let it slide. But yeah, Cavill, I almost said Cavill, Henry Cavill, producing it and possibly starring in something for 40k has always been something the community has been fucking over the moon about since we all found out he was a Warhammer fan. And hearing him talk about it in interviews and hearing him talk about it in like these behind the scenes clips and stuff, and yeah, the guy is clearly legitimately a nerd and a geek, and the fact that he looks the way he does and is kind of mind blowing. But yeah, like ever since people found that out about him, including myself, he's been kind of like this nerd Jesus amongst the pantheon in a sense of Hollywood. And we've been wanting him to do something 40k related for like a series or a live action show for a long time. So for him possibly getting to produce a series and kind of star in one, I don't know, I trust Cavill. I do. I trust Cavill with Warhammer 40k, because again, it's very clear he's passionate, and it's very clear he's passionate with all nerddom as a whole, because he quit The Witcher, because he pretty much cited in obviously professional speak and professional Hollywood speak that he was pissed that they were deviating so much from the material, so he left respectfully, and I respect him for being respectful in his exiting, but he left that because of its lack of faith to its source material. So we know he respects and focuses on the faith to the source material. And him being a fan for a very long time of 40k, and seemingly being a bigger fan of 40k than any other franchise, him producing and being directly involved in a show with 40k instantly gives it way more credibility than, let's say, something like The Rings of Power, which was being led by people who not only showed no signs that they were actually fans of Tolkien's works, but actively acted like they could do better than Tolkien. So that is way better, but the problem is there's a certain company name attached to this that instantly, almost instantly anyway, undoes any and all possible goodwill that Henry Cavill's name being attached to such a project does. Amazon. Okay. But TV or movie stuff aside entirely, if this is not miswritten, Amazon is looking to get the rights to the game. They're looking to buy 40k. If that is true, that could either be the worst news ever or not bad. The reason I say that is as greedy, as horrendous, as malicious, as fucking corrupt and meh as Amazon is, the alternative is Games Workshop, who increased prices during the pandemic and are known to have overpriced stuff in certain regions and underpriced in others. I don't know who's worse. Amazon's just bigger, so they've done worse stuff just simply for being bigger. But Games Workshop, even with their size, are still horrible. I don't know. Oh, God, I'm conflicted on this. But that's, again, assuming this is not a miswrite. So, I don't know. That's the one detail in this that sounds wrong or sounds off. So, I'm not sure about the full sources of this. But, yeah, I mean, an element of this I hope is true. I absolutely hope Henry Cavill is involved, especially on a producer level, to a 40k show and to a Warhammer show. But it's Amazon, man. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think with this, because I'm conflicted. And also let me know if you think that this article has miswritten elements to it, and it is not necessarily Amazon going for the whole franchise, but they're just going for the film rights, and whoever wrote this article maybe rushed it out too much or didn't, or wrote it in a way that sounds off. I don't know. There's a number of explanations of why they are saying that they're going for the miniature war game as opposed to show or film rights. I don't know, or maybe that is it, and Amazon is straight up wanting to buy it, and Games Workshop's looking to sell it. I mean, I thought Warhammer, at least in terms of sales and in terms of profits, was in the upswing lately. Much to my dismay with the newer miniatures, not because they didn't look good, but because the company's been being shittier lately. But that's beside the point. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I really want to know. I really want to know what you guys think as my community and as Warhammer fans. What do you guys think? I don't know. Other than that, I'm gonna head out. I gotta get ready for work this morning. But Jesus, I was not expecting that.